Okay. Well, it is 1 o'clock on a Saturday, so we want to make sure that everybody has a wonderful rest of their weekend. So we will be respectful of time and move through this. We'll go ahead and get it started. If other folks come in, they should be able to join. Um, Denise, do you have to let folks in, or do they just come
Nope,
right on in?
just come right in.
Perfect. So we will just plow through. If you have questions, I don't really keep eyes on the little chat window down there, but feel free to type in there. Or again, we will have some Q&A time at the end. If there's anything that we don't touch on that you would like to learn more about or ask questions about, something wasn't clear, whatever that might look like, we can do that at the end, and we will go from there. So again, 1 o'clock, we'll get it started. Welcome. Those that are here, my name is Byron Pullen, realtor with the Windermere family, Windermere Chambers Bay. We'll touch a little bit on that in a second. And then we'd like to also welcome Denise Tost with All Square Mortgage. Thank you for joining today as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, so we can go ahead and get started. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll go ahead and do the presentation here. Okay, so first, again, welcome. My name is Denise Tovis, and this is the first time home buyer webinar. On the right there, you can see my number, email, and website. I work for All Square Mortgage. We're based, actually, we moved offices. It's in Arlington, but we have quite a few offices here in Washington. So we'll go ahead and get started and see how this Mortgage 101 and Byron's real estate side goes. First is the Mortgage 101. So understanding the home buying process and the financing options available to you it'll bring you peace of mind. It's really nice to know obviously what you can afford, the monthly payment you want to stay within, and it'll definitely make you have informed financial decisions, especially when you are aware of where you like to be and what you want to afford. So the advantages of the home ownership, tax benefits is one big one that most folks actually are not aware of. When you do own a home, you can have your mortgage interest, your property taxes, and other expenses are tax deductible. So you'll definitely get a nice little break owning a home. Building wealth is the next one, where anytime that you have your mortgage and you're paying it down and the value of your home grows, that's the appreciation that you'll build. Essentially, some people can keep it there, or they'll take it out and do a remodel or pay off some debt, anything like that. But it's really nice once that starts happening. And a lot of times it can happen right at the beginning too. So the loan process, 1 through 7. The first part is the pre-qualification. This is essentially the pre-approval part. This is where I will gather your documents. We'll go through the initial application. I'll put everything into the system and it'll give me an amount that you are pre-qualified for. This is the part where you will work with Byron and he will go out and search homes for you guys. You will find a home. The process after that it will go into underwriting. This is when we submit your loan, and this is essentially where the underwriter will look at all of your documents, your pay stubs, your W-2s, anything that they may need as far as like gift letters, if you're receiving a gift for a down payment, anything like that. They'll first give you a conditional approval. And this is essentially, I just touched on this, is they'll give you conditional approval first, and they'll want updated bank statements, pay stubs. If they need anything extra, then this is the part where they'll ask you for that. The final underwriting approval is after the appraisal happens, the inspection. This is where they'll approve it fully. This is the next part. It will go to the escrow process. That's the closing documents. The escrow company is the one that gathers all of those documents, runs the numbers, and the title company is what records the sale of the home. And then the move-in date, that's where Byron will come to you and give you your house keys and you will move in.
Party time.
That is party time. Great. Step 1, we will collect the financial records. These are typically the items that I will need in order to pre-approve you. I'll need your driver's license picture, 2 months of your most recent bank statements, 30 days pay stubs, 19 and 2020 W-2s, job history and rental history. Both the job history and rental history will need at least 2 years. Doesn't necessarily mean 2 years in the same job or company. It means the same industry. So as long as you've had 2 years of the same industry, and that's what we'll use. All right, so step 2, evaluating your home loan options. The mortgage professional can help you, myself. We'll identify your credit, anything that can hinder your loan approval. For example, if you have any late payments, anything like that, we can work through those. We'll guide you through the loan application and the closing process. So I'll be here essentially all the way from beginning to end from your loan process. We'll help you determine the home purchase price that you can afford. If there's a certain monthly payment you'd like to stay within, that's definitely where you want to tell me that. And we'll definitely do everything we can to get you where you want to be and help you stay comfortable with that payment. We'll help you compare different loan programs. We have quite a few available to you. I will also manage and address any issues that may come up along the way. All right. And knowing your options. So there are a lot of factors that go into your loan payments and closing costs. You have the fixed rate where you have fixed payment. It doesn't change. Although if your property taxes go up and your homeowner's insurance, that would be the only thing. But as far as your actual principal, that will always stay the same. The adjustable rate mortgage or adjustable interest rate, essentially you'll have a few years with the same interest rate, and then thereon after every year will fluctuate depending on the market. So the number of years or term that you'll be making the payments, we have several options, 15, 20, 25, 30. Down payment amount that will determine what type of loan program you would like to try for, whatever you qualify for. And then also if you do have down payment set aside. There's mortgage insurance options. Some loan programs do require mortgage insurance, and obviously we'll go through all of that once we get in the pre-approval process and you're fully into the system, everything like that. So don't be afraid to ask any questions so that you can fully understand the impact of these factors on your home loan. So understanding debt to income. So what this is we divide all of your monthly debts and liabilities, so your car payments, credit cards, student loans, by your gross monthly income. This is the percentage that we come up with. This figure is known as your DTI, and it must fall under a certain percentage in order to qualify for a mortgage. So there are several different programs we have. Some have different percentages to fall under. So one might be 55%, one might be 50%. And that just depends on the loan program that we talk about, and we go over those options with you, obviously. Loan programs. So we have several options. VA home loans is a 0 down payment for military members and veterans. FHA, that's 3.5% down payment with easier limits to qualify. So typically, if you aren't able to get a conventional loan, more than likely FHA would be the route that you'd go. Conventional loans, you have 3 to 5% down payment, and they're a bit more strict and more credit driven. Essentially, if your credit's a little bit lower, then the interest rate's a little bit higher on conventional loans, whereas FHA, they're very not credit driven. So essentially you can get your lower interest rate with an FHA than you would conventional. So that's where we kind of play around with the numbers and get you exactly where you want to be. USDA rural loans doesn't necessarily mean farmland. If you know where Graham is, for example, that's considered USDA. So it is a 0 down payment program. There is income limits. You can't be above a certain median income percentage wise. And that has 41% or lower DTI required. So their requirements are a little strict on that. Down payment assistance programs. We do have 0 down payment assistance programs. They do have income limitations, and some do require home buyer classes. The nice thing is nowadays they are a lot of times like this, a webinar, or some sort of class that you can do online. And that'd be all you need actually for the down payment assistance class. All right, so understanding your monthly payment, we call this PITI, and it is your principal, which is the bulk of where your mortgage payment would go towards paying down your actual loan amount. The interest is what the bank is going to be charging you every month. Taxes is your property taxes. So depending on where your home is, property taxes are different for every single house. Insurance, so this is your mortgage homeowner's insurance. That would be typically through who you use for your car insurance. So it could be Geico, State Farm, whoever you use, you can combine them and get it cheaper, hopefully. So together, these 4 elements are commonly referred to as the PITI. Your pre-approval. Pre-approval is extremely important, especially when you're in the home buying process, and I'll explain that further. Pre-approval involves a formal application. This is where you have a formal commitment from a lender stating this is how much you're going to borrow and at what rate that you're going to be receiving. And I do need to stress the importance of getting a pre-approval. We've had a few times where, as far as for Byron on his example, he would go out showing folks some homes and they were looking at $500,000 homes, but then they went to go get the pre-approval and they were only pre-approved for 400. So now they're really stuck on that $500,000 house, the way it looks, everything. And so it kind of brings them down a little bit. And this is where Byron will help figure that out. And this is really important on why we always say, get your pre-approval first. So, all right, there are a few do's and don'ts during this process. A do is please continue to send copies of your updated pay stubs and bank statements as you receive them, all the way until your loan funds. So at the closing table, you want to send them all the way up and through that point. Do not apply for any new credit cards, max amount, or pay off a huge amount, because this will fluctuate your credit score. So these minor changes might not seem like a big deal, but they do negatively affect the loan process. Don't make any major changes in your asset accounts. Don't go on that Maui vacation and spend $5,000 over there. That's going to be a big no-no, especially during the loan process. Afterwards, go for it, but not while you're in the underwriting process and buying that home. All right, so finding your new home. The hunting stage can be fun and exciting. So you have to keep in mind the priorities that you and your family are, really important to you. Is it the neighborhood, the lifestyle, and obviously your budget is a big one. You should be prepared to readjust those priorities as you start looking around. The offer is accepted and the loan goes into, underwriting. The underwriting process happens when the lender verifies your income, assets, and debt. We did kind of touch on this already, so I won't read this all, but conditional approval, and I did explain that earlier, where you will get the conditional approval first. You'll continue sending any documents that the underwriter may need, and then it'll go into approval. All right, so step 4 is buying the home. We'll make the offer, not me, essentially you and Byron. You guys will go ahead and make that offer. You'll get the sales contract, get the contingencies, home inspection, appraisal, and the settlement. So closing documents, this is where you're going to be sign, sign, and sign. Then you will celebrate. All right, so working with the real estate agent, your agent can help you. They'll review your wish list, research potential homes, make arrangements to show the homes that fit your requirements, and obviously negotiating the purchase price, which is extremely important. This is important because the seller wants to get the max amount for their home, while you will want to pay the lowest cost possible. So I will pass this on to Byron now.
All right. Well, thank you for that. And again, some great insights into sort of that financing, the loan process. And again, we could have made this class a full 8-hour class to go through the entire Saturday. There's just so much involved, but we will keep it short. So again, we're just going to touch on some of the more broader, the bullet points of what it looks like to buy the home. So hopefully everyone can see this screen here. So again, this is from the realtor's perspective. So Denise gave, again, the wonderful overview of what it looks like from the financing side of things. And now that's great. So now you have your pre-approval letter. You have the ball rolling with financing. So now what? Now what do we do? What do things look like? So again, just some of the bits that we're going to talk about today. I'm going to try not to breeze through everything and talk about it as much as I can. But again, we could really get into the weeds on some of these points. So again, at the end of this, if you have questions or things weren't resolved, feel free to ask them, or again, feel free to reach out to either or both of us, and we can chat at a later date, set another meeting, and go over the rest of it. So again, quick little bit about me. Again, part of the Windermere family. My office is just down Bridgeport here in University Place at Windermere Chambers Bay. I am also certified as a military relocation professional. So just what that means is that I've had some additional training and some insight into working with military clients, whether active duty, veterans, whether PCS orders either in or out of the area. Again, they're moving from active duty to veteran status, and they want to stick around the area, move off base, their families, et cetera, whatever all that looks like. So Again, just some extra little bits there. So my goal is to help you find the best home for your wants and needs and successfully get it at the best price. There's a lot of folks who think that maybe real estate agents are paid too much, but you'll see here that there is a lot of work that goes into not only finding you a home, but then going through getting into contract, getting into mutual agreement, going under contract, and then once that takes place, helping buyers and or sellers navigate through that whole escrow process, checking off all the boxes, which you'll see in a bit, and actually getting to the closing table, working with Denise, working with mortgage lenders, working with title agencies to help close that transaction. There is a lot of plate spinning that goes on that we need to manage and oversee and facilitate. And again, it is a partnership. I know that there are certain things that need to happen, and there is an investment. I do not get paid until the transaction closes. And what I need from you as a client is to know that you are as invested in this as I am. I have worked with some clients before that we've looked at, 7 or 8 houses, showed them around, never quite got their pre-approval, said there were some credit things, and short story long is they ended up just, moving to Oregon. And so great, 15, 20, 30 hours worth of work that we, put in trying to find them their home and trying to work with them. They just, kind of up and left. So unfortunately, that happens. So again, this is a partnership. I need to know that we are in this together. There is also a difference between a customer and a client. And again, I'm not going to go into all of the details, but if you become a client, we sign paperwork, know that I am working for you. I have your best interests at heart. Everything I do is for the betterment of you and your real estate transactions and whatever that might look like. I owe you certain duties. And again, I will uphold all of those to the best of my abilities and do the best that I can to get everything for you. Denise mentions that the sellers are looking to maximize their profits. Sure, understandable. So as a buyer's agent, I am looking to get you the best deal. I'm looking to get you a home, get you into a property, and not break the bank. That's where a lot of my expertise and my career comes in, is negotiating, structuring deals. We'll talk about that here in a minute. So again, I'll stress it just like Denise did. Without a pre-approval, then we're just spinning our wheels. There's really not a whole lot that we can do without having that pre-approval letter. We don't know what we can spend. We can't really go shopping without having a number. Or if we have that pre-approval, great, you're pre-approved for $500,000. Maybe we don't go shopping at 500,000. Maybe we go shopping at, say, 450. And again, with the market that we have here in this climate, we'll talk about it in a minute, but there's a lot of, it's still a competitive market. So again, we want to set our expectations and be smart about what we're doing. If you happen to be paying with cash, we'll need evidence of funds. Same kind of thing. It's not necessarily pre-approval because there is no financing involved, but we do need to show the sellers that we have the funds available. Just the other option there. So typical financing, Denise covered them all. Conventional, FHA, VA are the ones that I will see mostly. If we're talking about, say, manufactured homes, that's considered personal property. There's a whole separate thing there. But these are the ones that we would typically be looking at. And it is great to have a local, personal mortgage lender representative like Denise, because as we're going through this, I will have lots of questions. I don't need all the ins and outs and all the details of your financial history and your records, but there are certain things that I do need to know. And there are questions that I'll have, and I'll be able to call Denise and we'll be able to work that out together. Whereas if you're going with, say, an online lender, or again, if you're looking at the VA side of things, if you happen to be going, say, through USAA, they're a wonderful organization. They do some great work. But if it's a Saturday and I need to get a hold of somebody, I would bet everything I've got that I won't be able to get a hold of somebody. Or if I've been working with a certain person, I'll probably get transferred to a different department and talk to somebody else. So having a local mortgage lender is huge in a lot of sort of intangible ways that you don't really see on paper. But it's wonderful to have because of all the service that can be provided. So great. Again, you've got your pre-approval, ball is rolling. What are we looking for? Nowadays, everybody's got apps. You've got Zillow, you've got Redfin, you've got Realtor.com, or any sort of, myriad of other home search apps. So that's taken a lot of the work off of agents like myself, whereas we don't have to be driving around for 8 hours a day looking at all these properties. You can just find it on your phone. Now, I say that to say that a lot of those sites that I mentioned are what are considered aggregate sites, meaning that they pull the information from the Northwest MLS, the multiple listing service, which is what I have access to, which is if you're working with an agent, if you're working with me, I will set you up with a search portal, which has direct access to the MLS. It is the MLS. Whereas the other sites I've woken up to emails and text messages before from clients saying, "Oh, we love this house. We would love to see it. Are you available this afternoon to run by and check it out?" I'll pull it up on the MLS, and it actually sold last week, but it's still showing active on Zillow, which, so that take those that information with a bit of grain of salt. But know that, again, if you're working with an agent, I can set you up with automated search portals. You wake up every morning with emails in your inbox with homes that fit your criteria. But how do we find that criteria? Well, you can set it yourself, or ideally, we'd have a meeting or two, and you and I can go through what that looks like. The likes, you love the 1920s craftsman homes in older neighborhoods. You would like to be in a cul-de-sac on a quiet street. You'd like to be next to a park. Whatever that looks like. Dislikes, we hate carpet in the bathroom. I mean, who doesn't? That's terrible. Wants and needs, we want a home that we can grow into. We need 3 bedrooms. There's no way we can get away with less than, with fewer than 3 bedrooms. That's an absolute deal breaker and a need that we have. Super. We can put all of those into searches or multiple searches, and really dial down onto those homes that you're looking for that fit your price budget. And again, this is where we can set those expectations so we can shop smart. So you're not falling in love with a home that is at the top end of your price range. All of a sudden we get beat out 2 or 3 times on those properties, and now we have to drop down a little bit. I've seen it happen before, and it's no fun, but we work through it, we manage it. And again, that's where I come in to help navigate that entire process. Do's and don'ts, be ready. So again, in this market, and we're starting to see a bit of a shift. Denise, I don't know if you've seen things on your end, but at least for us on the agent side of things, I'd say the last 8 to 10 weeks or so, we've started to see a pendulum swing back from the last 2 years. It has been a very heavy seller's market. Things going for 100,000 over asking, selling in 2 days with cash, just wild stories. And again, those are some sensational stories that you hear in the news. Which again, there's some foundation to them, but we're starting to see things swing back a little bit towards the buyers. Instead of being on the market, on Friday and selling on Monday, it's now going on the market and being there for a week, for 10 days, for 2 weeks, which may sound crazy. That sounds like a long time, but recent history has shown that things are flying off the shelves pretty quickly. And now we are moving towards, a bit of a longer term situation, which is nice. So I say that to say, be ready. If you find a home that you like, it checks all the boxes, it's something that, yep, this is our home that we want to offer on. This is our home we want to buy. Have everything lined up. Have Denise ready. Have pre-approvals, and we can go ahead and put in that offer. And again, to jump back real quick to having a local agent as well, a local mortgage lender. I can call Denise. It's 2 o'clock on a Thursday, and I can say, "Hey, Denise, I just submitted this offer. Would you mind giving the listing agent a call?" Basically, just strengthening our offer. It's another piece of ammo that we have in our system that we can make a strong offer and put that together. We may not be able to spend the most, but hey, we can put some things together. I'll touch on that in a second. Be open and honest. Let me know exactly what you're looking for, what your needs, your wants, your do's, your don'ts, all of those. Let me know. But even more importantly, perhaps be open with Denise. Be open with your mortgage lender. Anything that you think you're going to try to hide, it will be found. Any red flags that you think are out there, Denise will find it. The other underwriters will find it. Escrow and title will find it. It is there. So we can adjust from there. We can work on that early on. Whereas if we're walking to the closing table and we're 3 or 4 days out and we're starting to get to signings, it makes it a little more challenging, a little more difficult for us to be able to work through some of those issues, and deals have fallen through because people did not disclose, a bankruptcy from, X amount of years ago, or did not disclose one thing or the other. So again, be open and honest, and let us know what you got going on. Be realistic. Whatever you can afford, let's, again, drop that down maybe a little bit so we can shop smart. Be patient. We may not win on the first offer. Even though things are starting to swing back towards buyers, it is still competitive. So just be patient for that. Be flexible. Again, if you need 3 bedrooms, we'll look for 3 bedrooms, but maybe we find 2 bedrooms and a bonus room, and we can maybe work with that. Again, that's not the first option. That may be down the road, but just, hang in there and be confident. Stay confident, because we will find you something. I've certainly had clients where we've, lost out on 2 or 3 or 4 deals, and that 5th deal goes through, and that was the best deal of them all. That was the home they liked the most, and we got it at the best price, and it all worked out. But those first 4 offers, that was a challenging time. This is a stressful time, but we'll work through it. Some of the don'ts. Denise touched on most of these, so I'll just talk about a couple. Don't call listing agents directly. It may seem innocent enough. If you're driving down the street in your neighborhood and you see a sign out in the front yard, it's going to have the listing agent's name and number. Don't just give them a call and start asking questions and talking to them. You may disclose something that could come back to bite us should we end up putting an offer in on that house. Same thing goes with don't say too much at open houses. If you see that there is an open house, there's an agent there, whether it's the listing agent or somebody else there that is showing the house, they're going to be more than happy to show you around, answer any questions for you. But just be smart, walk in, let them know that you're represented. You already have an agent. You just wanted to stop in and take a look. Great. They'll show you around, answer any questions for you. But again, if you start saying that, hey, we just won the lottery and now we're here to buy a house, or, I just inherited $1 million from my grandma, like those are, again, things that you have now disclosed, that now should we try to negotiate on price or a few other things, that again, leverage might come back to bite us. So just be smart about that. And then again, don't spend any money. If you're moving from an apartment because your family is growing, congratulations. But now you're moving into a 4 or 5 bedroom house, and you're like, hey, we need $7,000 worth of furniture. Maybe you have a little camp out in the living room the first night.
And then don't co-sign on any loans. Your nephew wants to buy a car, but he can't do it because of XYZ. But you're a wonderful aunt, and you're going to go ahead and sign on the loan for him. Well, now you are on that loan, and that is part of your finances as well. So that will also get flagged. As nice as you're trying to be, maybe hold off until I give you those keys. So deciding how much to offer. This is also where my expertise and my abilities can come in handy for you as your agent. Again, working for you, trying to get the best deal that we can. So I will work directly with that listing agent. I'll make 2 or 3 or 4 phone calls before we even put in that offer to the listing agent, to Denise, mortgage lender, to escrow, to find out how quickly they can close, how quickly Denise and her team can put something together on this property. How many offers are coming in? How competitive do we need to be, and how fast do we need to be with all of this? Is this something where we can maybe think about it for a day? Or does this need to be put together now? How long has the home been on the market? All of these factors go into putting our offer together, which the next slide will talk about crafting our offer. But again, there's a lot that we can put together. I received phone calls from a couple of different agents where I've lost out on those deals. My buyer's offer was not accepted. There was an offer that the sellers took for a lot more money. We just couldn't spend that much. But I received phone calls from the listing agents directly saying, hey man, great offer. I would love to work with you. I wanted your offer to go through, but my sellers just couldn't pass up on the money. So that was just something that we just couldn't spend that much. But we were able to craft an offer, and we were able to put something together for the buyers that, again, no consolidation really because we didn't get the house, but we put together a pretty incredible offer. So there's a lot that goes into it. Whenever I work with new clients, I will always ask them 3 questions to think about once they find that home. What do you want to pay? What are you willing to pay? And then what's your walkaway price? So just things to think about as you're looking at a home. You're pre-approved for $500,000. We find a home at $450,000. great deal. What do you want to pay for it? Be realistic. Don't say $10. But you know, it's listed at $450. What do you want to pay? You want to pay $450? Super. What are you willing to pay? Well, I want to pay $450 because that's what they're asking, but I'm willing to pay $475. Okay, that's good to know. What's your walkaway price? There's no way I'm going to pay over $480 or $490, whatever that number is. So that way we've set our expectations. So as we go through this process, again, this is a whole day class just on putting offers together as well. We could spend several hours just on this, but as we're putting our offer together, as we go through the negotiation process with the seller and the listing agent, whether we're doing escalations or whatever else that looks like, that way you already have your mindset and your expectations set on how much you're going to spend and you can spend. And when we get to those sticky situations where the price is going up to $470, $475, we can start to be realistic and figure out what our next moves are going to be. Market value is not what a home is worth. It's what buyers are willing to pay and sellers are willing to accept. So if you're driving around and you see a rundown home that has half the roof missing and it's 800 square feet and they're selling it for $450,000, do you think the home is really worth $450,000? Probably not. But if somebody's going to pay $450,000 for it, then hey, it's worth it to somebody. So again, things to think about. And the best offer is not always the highest amount, but the offer that's most likely to close. So when we are putting our offer together, this is where I will call that listing agent 2 or 3 times before we put in the offer. Hey, what are your sellers looking for? Do they need to be out right now? Do they have a home in Arizona that they are moving to and they now have 2 mortgages and they need to be done with this place now? Well, super. If we can be fast, if we are ready to go, we have all of our paperwork lined up, we have financing set, and we can expedite, we can move through, we can get a pre-inspection done so we can waive our inspection contingency. So that's out of the way. We just have financing. We can shorten some deadlines for paperwork and some other signings. And I call escrow and title, and it looks like they can close in 15 days on this property because sellers have opened up preliminary. Awesome. We can now maybe we're not able to spend as much as somebody else, but maybe somebody else can't expedite their close. So money is not what's most important to these sellers. Time is what's most important. So if we can put that together, then that's going to put us up at the top of the list for offers for these sellers to look at. How much earnest money down? I'll talk about that in a minute. Down payment, same thing, unless you're looking at VA, but again, we'll talk about that. And then timeline, are we going to adjust anything? Again, are we going to shorten up any of our timeline instead of having, 21-day financing? Are we going to put it at 14 days? Are we going to kind of shorten things up if that's what's important? Or are we going to extend them? Maybe the sellers need a 45-day close instead of a 30-day close because of they're contingent on another property and they need to extend some timelines. Well, if we can be flexible, going back to the do's and don'ts, if we can be flexible and be smart about what we can do if the circumstances allow for it, then again, we can put a stronger offer together than somebody who can maybe spend more than us. So earnest money, it's a down payment on your down payment. It shows the seller how invested you are or how invested you are willing to be on putting this offer together. So if we're offering on a $500,000 home, putting down an offer of $500,000, anywhere from 1% to 3%. So let's say if we're going to put $5,000 down on this offer for our earnest money, that shows the seller that we have the money and we're putting this in good faith to be held by escrow. If we don't put anything down, then we have no investment in the offer. Sellers aren't going to want to go for us because if the deal falls through and we default, normally we would lose our earnest money if we default. If we have no earnest money, then there's nothing holding us there. And so we can just cut and run. And now the sellers have lost time. They have to start up putting the house back up for sale again, all of that. So even with a VA loan where there is no money down, we still have to put earnest money in there. It goes towards closing costs. There will still be closing costs, recording, et cetera. So we still have to put earnest money down. So just because you have no money down on a VA loan does not mean you do not do earnest money. Just something to think about. People think, well, if it's a down payment on my down payment, and if I'm not putting anything down, it doesn't quite work like that. As I mentioned earlier, there is a lot that a real estate agent does behind the scenes, and this is one of them. Once we go mutual, we have submitted our offer. The seller and the listing agent, the seller has accepted the offer. They have countersigned. We all have paperwork. We will then get Denise and her team involved. We will get escrow and title involved. And now we have a timeline. We have a checklist with things that we need to hit by certain times. And that's where I come in. I am not super involved in a lot of the closing process. You will work directly with Denise for your financing. You will work directly with title and escrow on the closing paperwork. I don't have I'm in the loop. I don't have a ton to do with that. But what I will do is make sure that we hit our deadlines for inspections. I will make sure that if an inspection comes back with, say there's a big electrical problem, the inspector is not going to call that out. So we will need to bring in an electrical specialist or a plumber or a roofer to come in and look at those specialized items. There are timelines and there's paperwork that needs to be submitted, and that's what I will do. That's where I come in, and that's where my value is, making sure that we hit those timelines. Because if we don't, if we have 10 days to respond back to our inspection contingency, if I drop the ball and I schedule the inspection late and we don't turn around in time, and I don't work with you to get paperwork signed and back in time until the 14th day. Well, we have now defaulted on our inspection. And if we find something was bad, we've already waived our inspection contingency. We have no leg to stand on. So all of these bullet points and more are very important to getting to that closing table. So if I see we're getting close to a financing contingency, I'll call Denise. And it's nice, again, having a local mortgage lender to work on your behalf. I can give her a call, say, hey, we need this paperwork by tomorrow, or, you know, if it's Thursday and we need something by Monday, hey, I'll give her a shout and say, hey, are we looking good for Monday? Are we going to be, you know, on target and on time for paperwork? And we can work through any issues that might come up, or she can call me down and say, hey, we're looking good, everything's fine, we're have a good weekend, leave me alone, and we can move forward from there. Final walkthroughs, negotiations. Again, there's a lot of back and forth that can happen even once we are under contract. Things with, most notably, things with inspection. Things come back on the report. We want the seller to do some things. They say no. We say we want this, or we can change price. Again, this is where I will handle all of that for you and be your liaison to the other parties, and to make sure that you're going to purchase this home with, you know, there's no buyer's remorse. You are going to feel comfortable and confident moving through with this transaction. You're going to sign, as Denise said. You will likely need, you know, a bag of ice for your hand. It's going to be very sore and tired. A lot of it is digital now, but you know, the notaries will have lots of paperwork in person for you. Goes to recording, county gets it. Denise sends out cuts her check. Funds are dispersed. Everybody's happy, and then we finally get to celebrate. It's good to appreciate and enjoy and celebrate a lot of those little milestones that we hit. Once we get to sign off and send our form in that we are satisfying the appraisal or the inspection contingency, that's a huge one. When the appraisal comes back and we don't have to worry about any sort of low appraisals coming in, we can celebrate that. But once I have keys for you, once I get that call from that listing agent, or I get a call from escrow, I get the call from Denise saying we're clear to close and we have sent to escrow, and then I get the call from escrow saying we have sent funds or sent paperwork to record with the county. All of those things are little things that we can celebrate. And then I get those keys, meet you at the house, shake your hand, high five, give you the keys, open the doors. Now we celebrate. You have just purchased a home, and we move forward from there. So again, this could be a whole day topic, talking about all of these things. This was a very, very kind of quick and dirty run through, but it just gives you an idea as a first-time home buyer of what to expect. There are a lot of moving pieces. Again, we are spinning so many different plates at so many different times that having a trusted, a local mortgage lender, a real estate agent working for you, working on your behalf, working with you, it's invaluable. And again, a lot of it doesn't show on paper, but it helps. This is a stressful time. Good stress, bad stress, it's all there. It's a big life change. You're spending a lot of money for a very big purchase. And so our jobs are to make it as smooth and easy as possible. It never goes perfectly, or I guess rarely goes perfectly, but we can help manage any of those little hiccups or any of those unseen things that may pop in, we can be there for you. So here, just again, some more information for me. If you have any other questions, you can pop by the office, give me a call, shoot me an email, anything that, again, we're going to open it up here in just a second for Q&A, but afterwards, if there's anything you need, I'll go and stop sharing now because I think that's all I got. So there we go. Yeah, so if there is anything else that either wasn't covered, or that was covered but maybe it was too quickly or didn't quite answer any questions, now's the time. Feel free. I do not see anything in chat, so feel free, anybody, to feel free to unmute. Otherwise, again, you've got my information, or if you need it, byron@windermere.com is a quick email. Feel free to shoot me an email there and connect. Or again, same thing with Denise. If you've got some financing or lending questions, we would be happy to answer those. Okay. Well, thank you for spending a Saturday afternoon with us. And if there is anything that we can do moving forward, we would be more than happy to help in whatever that may look like, to help you along this home buying journey. Yeah, we appreciate the time.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, please reach out to either myself or Byron, and we'd be happy to answer anything that you guys can think of. All right, you guys have a wonderful rest of your Saturday.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Denise. Have a good one.
Bye. You too.
Bye, guys.